Welcome. So today we're going to start out with some quick impressions. I want you to guess who I am. All right, let's get started. So here. All right. Can you guess who I am? Well, according to the targeted news service, I represent 2/3 of all high school students because in October 2016, they wrote an article about how 2/3 of all high school students in the United States suffer from sleep deprivation. Now, today we're going to talk about the horrible effects of an early school start and how it leads to sleep deprivation, and also how we can help the future generations by pushing back the school start to a reasonable hour. So first, I'm going to talk about the external and internal health problems that's associated with an early school start, as well as how it can negatively affect their academic career. I'm also going to talk about why this hasn't been in place due to a number of scheduling and transportation issues. And then I'm also going to talk about a solution that's going to benefit everybody involved. Let's get started. So to begin, I'm going to talk about the external and internal health problems. So the Targeted News Service also wrote an article in April 2017 that talks about the different external and internal health factors. And if you can believe it, if someone doesn't get enough sleep, externally they're at risk of obesity, hyperbolic dysfunctionality, cardiac morbidity, and they also have an increased risk of getting into a car accident. Now we're talking about teenagers. Teenagers are having some serious adult level problems just because schools want to start early. That doesn't sound right to me. And then internally, they are at an increased risk for depression and even suicide. They could end up taking their own life just because of an early school start. Now, if this isn't bad enough, it also has a negative academic effect. The Targeted News Service also put out an article in February 2017 that was a study done upon actually mice and rats, and they looked at the effects of sleep deprivation. So they found that the purpose of sleep is to help the brain retain what it's learned, prepare the way for new learning, and then also, truly become educated. And they found that when they deprived these rats of sleep, they were unable to create new memories and retain learned information. So kids come to schools so that they can learn, and this study is showing that just because the schools want to start a little bit earlier, it's actually negatively affecting their ability to learn, which is very counterintuitive. So here's why this system's been in place for so long. Here's why we have the early start. First, it starts with scheduling issues. According to the LA Times, an article written in August 2010, it stated that schools have such an early start because they want to give perspective to their teachers. When the teachers, they come to school, or they come to school before the kids get there, which is fairly early in the morning, they work all day and then they work after the kids leave. Only then can they go home. If you push the school time back, the teachers have less time to spend with their family because they have to get up so early anyway. And then another reason is also for after-school activities such as sports. There was a survey that was done, again, by a Targeted News Service in October 2019, where it said that 82% of the survey respondents said, let's not push back the school time because it would negatively affect the time of when sports can occur. Now, a lot of people truly value their sports, and for some kids, it's the only way they can get into college. So it's a big deal that all of these, that the sports schedules, are able to work with one another, and pushing the school back can negatively affect that. Another reason that why the system has been in place, why we start so early, is because of transportation. The first way of transportation for most kids in America is by bus. And the Wall Street Journal actually wrote an article in August 2016 where they pushed the school back, the school start time back to be a little bit later. And then the Annie Ardrell County Republic School District had to apply for $600,000 just to get 10 extra buses so they could accommodate all the kids that are trying to get to school at that time. That's a lot of extra cash, and it was extremely hard for the buses to implement because of all the traffic on the road. Also it's for respect for the parents. The LA Times also wrote an article in September 2019 about how parents can only take their kids to school, just like take them and have that relationship with them if they miss the bus, because schools are so early that the parents can take them before work. So I know we've talked about negative, I know we've talked about why everything has been this way, so I'm going to talk about a solution that's going to fix all of it. Alright, here it goes. So what we're going to do is we're going to extend the school year and push back the school starting times, however, keeping the ending time the same. Now, what this is going to do is, with the longer school year, we'll still get the same amount of curriculum, except kids go to school for less time in the day. That way, none of the after-school programs are going to be pushed, and it's also going to start promoting a healthy kids. They're going to be able to benefit from all the number of health benefits that comes from sleeping more. The LA Times also wrote an article in September 2016 about how some of their schools in the LA district, they pushed back the school time and they saved money because of attendance. Kids got to sleep in more, so they were getting to school on time. And so they actually received quite a bit of money just because of attendance. That's going to help pay for the transportation and allow for more buses in circulation. It actually also increased the students' grades and their test scores. Now, that's what on a large scale what can happen. Now, here's what you can do. Parents, you can implement what I have created. It's called a helper hinder system. It's an incentives if the kids sleep more, and then discipline if the students sleep less. Now, this is both in drastic cases. If the kids are getting a lot more sleep, give them an incentive. Maybe knock off a chore or two. Give them a couple bucks. That's going to say, I want to sleep more. I want to be healthy. And then also, when as far as hindrance goes, if they get like 4 or 3 hours of sleep, they're already going to be suffering. And so you're going to say, hey, look, this is what's going to happen. We're going to have to add an extra chore on eventually. So eventually they're only going to want to be motivated to get more sleep. So we talked about all the horrible effects of an early school start and how this solution can really impact all generations. We talked about the external and internal negative health effects, as well as the negative academic effects. Secondly, we talked about how scheduling and transportation is the main cause of why this early school start has stayed in place for so long. So use the solution that we last talked about that I have just told you, the helper hinder. That way, your students can go from looking like this to this in class. Thank you.